Tonight, charged with sedition. The leader of the extremist group, the Proud Boys, charged with seditious conspiracy. Prosecutors argued Enrique Tarrio directed his troops remotely. Plus,
I've realized that working with the unhoused, that they're some of the smartest, kindest people, and people do not give them the respect, the attention, the time of day that they need.
the group on the front line of the fight to end homelessness, libraries. How many are filling the void where the federal and local governments have stepped away? And
I don't even feel like I'm 45 right now, because like when you're learning something new, and your eyes are wide open and you get the chills and you still feel something, it's like you're back when you're a teenager again.
he's the highest grossing electronic dance music artist in North America. Steve Aoki joins and talks music, touring, and his roots that have led to hit after hit. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the unprecedented investigation into the NFL suit for workplace discrimination and hostility. We'll speak to one of the attorneys general investigating. Plus, the courtroom verdict that lets Ed Sheeran live to sing another day, and the frightening moments when a woman drives off of a boat ramp after her GPS goes wrong. Our correspondents are fanned out across the country covering those stories and much more for us tonight. But we do begin with the verdict in the trial of 5 members of the far-right group, the Proud Boys. It's the most consequential case stemming from the January 6th siege of the Capitol. The group's former leader, Enrique Tarrio, and 3 of his lieutenants, all convicted of seditious conspiracy for plotting to attack the Capitol to keep Donald Trump in power after he lost the 2020 election. That was the most serious charge, but the 4 also face other felonies. Seditious conspiracy alone carries a charge of 20 years. A 5th member of the group was convicted on lesser crimes. Prosecutors used thousands of text messages from encrypted conversations. This conviction follows that of members of another far-right group, the Oath Keepers, including its leader, Stuart Rhodes. Our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, leads us off.
Tonight, a jury convicting the head of the Proud Boys and 3 of its members of the rare charge of seditious conspiracy and a plot to use force to keep Donald Trump in power.
The evidence presented at trial detailed the extent of the violence at the Capitol on January 6th and the central role these defendants played in setting into motion the unlawful events of that day.
Prosecutors laying out a mountain of evidence, including thousands of texts and videos like these showing that Proud Boys were among the first to break through those metal barriers protecting the Capitol. The government proved Ethan Nordine, Joseph Biggs, Zachary Real, and the group's chief, Enrique Tarrio, saw themselves as Donald Trump's army, thirsting for violence and organizing for action. Enrique Tarrio had been barred from the nation's capital that day, but on the eve of the insurrection, Tarrio was seen meeting with the leaders of the Oath Keepers in an underground parking garage in Washington.
Stuart, pleasure's all mine.
Prosecutors say the next day he orchestrated the attack from afar, texting his fellow Proud Boys at the height of the violence, telling them, "Don't expletive leave." The jury today also convicting a key foot soldier, Proud Boy Dominic Pizzola, who was seen in that infamous video using a stolen police shield to smash through a window. Pizzola found guilty of a number of felonies, including obstructing a congressional proceeding and assaulting officers, but acquitted on seditious conspiracy. The Proud Boys were tied to Donald Trump long before January 6th, and their ranks only surged after Trump called them out by name at a debate.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
At trial, the group portrayed themselves as simply hard drinkers with no master plan who got swept up in the moment. Attorneys for the defendants instead blamed Trump, pointing to his own words that day.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Words that have certainly come back to haunt some. Pierre Thomas joins us now from Washington. Pierre, how long could the members of the Proud Boys go to prison for?
Well, Lindsay, they face potentially decades in prison, and they joined the leaders of the Oath Keepers, who were convicted of seditious conspiracy last fall for their role on January 6th. So a long prison term, potentially.
Pierre Thomas for us. Thanks so much, Pierre. In Atlanta, the suspect who opened fire inside a doctor's office, triggering a manhunt that paralyzed the downtown, has been charged. He faces 4 counts of aggravated assault for the 4 victims left wounded and 1 count of murder for the victim who did not survive. And tonight, we've learned the person killed was an employee of the CDC. Here's ABC's Steve Aoki.
She's the mother who did not make it home from the doctor's office in Atlanta, who had 2 young children who friends are remembering tonight. 39-year-old Amy St. Pierre worked at the CDC. Her family tells us that Amy was selfless always. She wanted more for others, but never for herself. A friend told us that she was funny and very serious about her work, and that her family came first. In Washington today, her boss said that she would be missed.
Amy was a valued member of our team at the Division of Reproductive Health, where she worked every day to save lives of mothers and infants.
24-year-old Dion Patterson is charged with murder and 4 counts of aggravated assault. The 4 women at the doctor's office who he's accused of seriously wounding have a long road to recovery. 1 was shot in the face. 3 are still in intensive care tonight.
As of right now, everybody is as stable as they can be given the nature of their injuries.
Police say he fired a handgun inside the doctor's office waiting room and reception desk. His mother, who says she was with him, says he was trying to get a prescription for an anti-anxiety medication when he started shooting. And WSB-TV in Atlanta got a hold of this surveillance video showing him running away. It was a street-side license plate reader that spotted the truck he's accused of stealing north of the city, where he was arrested and where people who saw him were calling 911.
Where is he right now?
He was walking in front of our building on our street.
Patterson is a former member of the Coast Guard who, according to his mother, was having mental health issues and had been trying to get help from the Veterans Hospital.
And let's get right to Steve Aoki. Steve, have we learned anything more about the suspect?
Well, his mother tells us that he was having mental health issues, and now there are questions that are being directed about that to the VA. And the VA in Washington tells us tonight that they can't really discuss his personal information that way because of privacy issues and because he's, of course, a veteran. But they do also say, Lindsay, that they are horrified and saddened by what happened here. Lindsay.
I can understand that. Steve, our thanks to you. Overseas now to the war in Ukraine, and Russia is now blaming the U.S. for an alleged drone attack over the Kremlin, an attempt, they say, to kill Vladimir Putin. Tonight, the White House is responding to that accusation as we learn new details about just what happened. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Ukraine.
Russia tonight blaming the U.S. for the alleged drone attack on the Kremlin, claiming without any evidence it was an attempt to kill Vladimir Putin. Moscow saying without question that such an attack would be, quote, dictated to Kyiv from Washington. The White House today blasting that accusation, calling it, quote, a blatant, bold lie.
One thing I can tell you for certain is that the United States was not involved in this incident in any way.
And saying there's no conclusive evidence as to who is behind Wednesday's alleged attack. And tonight, we're learning more about the sequence of events. The first object seen in video posted by state media slamming into the Kremlin dome around 2:27 in the morning. 16 minutes later, apparent CCTV video catching the second explosion near the Russian flag. It was more than 12 hours before the Kremlin released an official statement, and state media posted video of both blasts. In one of the videos, you can see 2 people climbing the Senate dome just moments before the second explosion. Experts say the types of apparent drones seen in those videos could not have reached Moscow from Ukraine.
Somebody had to have gotten within a couple of miles of these targets, a couple of miles of the Senate palace.
President Zelensky has adamantly denied Ukraine was involved.
And let's get right to Marcus Moore, who joins us in Ukraine. Marcus, Washington is calling Russia's claims a, quote, blatant, bold lie. What more are U.S. officials saying tonight?
Lindsay, we know U.S. officials have been poring over that video that we showed you to try to figure out exactly what happened, but so far they have come to no conclusions. But a top U.S. intelligence official confirms that the drones that appear to have been involved potentially would have required someone in close proximity to operate. Lindsay.
Marcus Moore, our thanks to you. Next tonight, to the strong reactions after the death of a black man on a New York City subway was ruled a homicide. Witnesses say the man was shouting at passengers when other passengers tackled him. A white Marine veteran on the subway car put him in a chokehold for several minutes. He did not survive. The Marine has not been charged. Stephanie Ramos reports in a warning. Some may find the video that you're about to see disturbing.
Tonight, authorities in New York City poring over this video showing a former Marine restraining an allegedly erratic man in a deadly chokehold on a subway. Police say 30-year-old Jordan Neely, who was homeless, was on the train in Lower Manhattan Monday afternoon when he began threatening passengers.
He interrupted in the train and then started to yell in violence language. I don't care if I die. I don't care if I'm going to jail.
That's when police say the 24-year-old former Marine put Neely in that chokehold. Neely struggling as another passenger holds his arms. Police say the Marine did ask others to call 911. After several minutes, Neely losing consciousness and later pronounced dead at a hospital. The medical examiner ruling his death a homicide by compression of the neck. Neely, once known for his Michael Jackson impersonations. Police sources say he had a documented mental health history and more than 40 arrests, including for assault and disorderly conduct. Overnight, protesters gathering at the train station to demand justice for Neely. New York Governor Kathy Hochul calling the chokehold an extreme response.
Just looking at that video, you know it's wrong. No one has the right to take the life of another person.
But tonight, Mayor Eric Adams urging patience.
The district attorney, the police department, they're doing their investigations, and I'm going to respect that. There are many layers to this.
Stephanie Ramos joins us now from New York. Stephanie, what comes next in this investigation?
Well, we know that police are asking for any tips. They're asking for witnesses, more witnesses to come forward with any information they have from that scene. We also know that that former Marine, whose name has not been released, was interviewed by police and let go. We also just learned a few moments ago that both Neely's family and that former Marine have retained attorneys. Lindsay.
Stephanie Ramos for us. Thanks so much, Stephanie. Authorities in Phoenix are asking for the public's help after a woman was killed on a popular trail near her home. 29-year-old Lauren Heike was found dead after police say she was attacked from behind while out walking. They've released surveillance video showing a man in the area who they are now calling a suspect in the murder. Signs have also been posted at the trailhead warning people not to hike alone. In Northern California, police announced an arrest in 3 stabbings that left 2 people dead and the UC Davis campus on edge. Davis police identified 21-year-old Carlos Dominguez as the suspect. He's accused of killing a homeless man in the first attack and a UC Davis senior in the second. On Monday, a woman was critically injured but survived when she was stabbed through her tent at a homeless encampment. Dominguez was a UC Davis student until just last week. Police say they found a large knife when they made the arrest. Now to a new investigation into the NFL, with the attorneys general from New York and California announcing today that they have launched a joint probe examining the workplace culture of the league. As part of the investigation, the AG subpoenaed the NFL seeking information regarding allegations of gender disparities in compensation, harassment, retaliation, and gender and race discrimination. And joining us now is California Attorney General Rob Bonta, who's joined New York's Attorney General in bringing this investigation. Thank you so much for your time tonight. So New York and California are home to more than 1,000 NFL employees. Explain your thinking on why this sort of investigation is needed at this moment and your time frame for your probe.
The investigation is needed to protect Californians and other NFL employees from potential discrimination. The allegations that we've seen that have been consistent over a number of years paints a picture that is very concerning and very disturbing about the work environment at the NFL. It paints a picture of discrimination based on race and gender, harassment, retaliation, pay inequity. And so we're issuing subpoenas to get information from the NFL to further analyze and study and evaluate those allegations. And we asked to receive documents by early July.
The AP reports that the league said that it would cooperate with the investigation, but said in a statement, I'll quote here, these allegations are entirely inconsistent with the NFL's values and practices. The NFL offices are places where employees of all genders, races, and backgrounds thrive. We do not tolerate discrimination in any form. Do you believe that you might uncover information that will dispute that?
Yes. The allegations, multiple allegations over many years, dispute that. I'm pleased that they are committed to cooperating. I'm pleased that they have articulated values that are consistent with what we would like to see. But action speaks louder than words. We need to see the action. Employees, past and present, continue to make allegations of discrimination. And from where we stand, they have not been addressed. And so we're going to dig in and see. We're going to see what they've done or haven't done.
As you're well aware, Congress has held hearings and issued reports on the NFL's workplace in recent years, including public testimony from several former female employees who alleged a hostile work environment. What do you believe that your investigation might be able to uncover that Congress was not able to?
We're issuing subpoenas that are broad and get at the heart of the allegations, not just that were made in Congress, but that were revealed in news articles like the New York Times investigative report, like the different lawsuits that have been initiated and brought in court across the country. We feel that the tools that we have are able to fully uncover the full range of potential discrimination that may exist in the NFL. So we're going to heavily scrutinize the NFL's practices, procedures, and work environment. We're going to look closely, unturn all the stones, and see what's there, and do a thorough review. The employees of the NFL deserve that. The people of California deserve that. The people of New York deserve that. No entity, institution, or corporation, no matter how big they are, how powerful, or how popular, is above the law and must comply with our laws, including laws to create work environments free of discrimination.
Lastly, what do you hope comes out of this? And what do you think that the fans of the NFL should think about this investigation?
I hope that if the investigation uncovers discrimination, that what comes out of this is an end to the discrimination. Change practices, reform, a new culture, an inclusive environment that does not retaliate against employees, that does not provide a hostile work environment, that doesn't harass, that is not a boys' club, if that's what we find to be true based on our investigation. The allegations suggest that all those things are present, but we'll determine for ourselves. We're not prejudging, we're not predetermining, but we're looking for discrimination-free workplaces in all work environments, including the one that the NFL provides for its employees. There might also be the possibility of financial penalties.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now to new reporting on Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. After ProPublica unveiled Thomas accepted at least $150,000 in private school tuition for his grandnephew, who he was raising as a son. This is from the same GOP megadonor who gifted him vacations and who bought Thomas's mother's home. None of those gifts were disclosed, and it's leading ethics watchdogs to cry foul. Here's ABC's chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
New revelations today that billionaire Republican megadonor Harlan Crow paid for the private school tuition of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas's grandnephew, who the justice raised as a son. No comment today from Justice Thomas, who has called Crow a dear friend. But the billionaire did acknowledge paying the tuition, saying he has, quote, been passionate about the importance of quality education and giving back to those less fortunate, especially at-risk youth. ProPublica says they've uncovered evidence Crow paid for tuition at 2 different private schools. And while the exact amount is unknown, the cost of one of the schools was $6,000 a month. Thomas did not reveal any of this in his financial disclosure reports. This comes after ProPublica reported that the same billionaire donor took Thomas and his wife on lavish vacations, including travel on a private jet and a super yacht. Thomas didn't disclose those either, or the fact that Mr. Crow also bought Thomas's mother's house. The reports have prompted Democrats to call for new Supreme Court ethics rules.
The reputation of the Supreme Court is at stake here.
Other justices have faced ethics questions. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, for example, was criticized for not recusing herself from a case involving a publisher that paid her over $3 million to write her books. Unlike Thomas, however, Sotomayor disclosed that income. And even though some Republicans say Thomas is being unfairly singled out, there is rare bipartisan agreement on one thing.
Those fact patterns should be something that the Supreme Court should look at and figure out what they should do to update their ethics.
Jonathan Karl joins us now from Washington. John, how are the justices responding to this scrutiny, and if there should be any new rules policing them?
Well, just last week, the justices, all 9 of them, liberal and conservative, signed a rare joint statement making it clear that they believe that it should be up to the court itself to police its ethics, not to Congress or any other entity. So the justices said, basically, leave it up to them. They'll take care of it themselves.
They'll police themselves.
Yes, precisely.
Jonathan Karl from the Supreme Court for us. Thanks so much, John.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Now to singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran winning his bitter copyright battle. A federal jury found that he did not copy a famous Marvin Gaye song. After the verdict, Sheeran said that he was happy but frustrated that he had spent the last 8 years defending a song containing musical building blocks that are used by songwriters every day all over the world. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Looking forward to a verdict today? Tonight, that major legal victory for superstar Ed Sheeran. A federal jury in Manhattan finding the singer not liable for copyright infringement.
I'm obviously very happy with the outcome of the case, and it looks like I'm not having to retire from my day job after all.
During the 2-week trial, at times the courtroom turning into a concert venue, with the musician playing guitar and belting out a mashup of songs from the witness stand in an effort to prove he did not copy this hit song by Marvin Gaye. To write his own chart topper.
Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70.
Sheeran sued by the family of the late Ed Townsend, the co-writer of Let's Get It On, claiming the Grammy winner lifted the exact chords for thinking out loud.
These chords are common building blocks which were used to create music long before Let's Get It On was written.
The judge instructing the jury that similarities do not equate to copyright infringement. And after just 3 hours of deliberations, the jury siding with Sheeran.
We ultimately came to what we thought was the right interpretation of the law that we were given.
And Lindsay, Townsend's daughter testified that she had hoped to avoid a trial, but she wanted to protect her father's legacy. Sheeran expressing frustration that these types of copyright claims can make it to court at all. Lindsay?
Ariel, thank you. Still much more to get to here on Prime tonight. Coming up, heart-stopping video shows a woman falling and her child's stroller rolling toward oncoming traffic. See the moment a good Samaritan steps in to help. But next in tonight's Prime Focus, while many libraries offer multiple services for the public, they're also providing something they never planned for: shelter. How librarians are stepping up to care for some of the most vulnerable in their communities.
When you got into this industry, did you ever expect this?
No, but it's one of the reasons I stayed. I did not expect it. I didn't realize the ramifications of so many people being unhoused, that they would need resources like this.
Whenever news breaks,
the crushing families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live. ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now. But a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead.
An alert this morning for dog owners.
And the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different. Early mornings on ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back, everyone. Last night, ABC News Live Prime explored the scarcity of affordable housing. In tonight's Prime Focus, we're taking you to one of the last free public spaces in the United States that acts as a refuge for those seeking shelter, a lifeline to internet access and technology, and a place to make critical connections with people who can help. At the forefront of our country's homelessness crisis is the public library and their workers who are bridging the gap for so many. ABC's Jacqueline Lee shows us how.
From the outside, this place may seem ordinary. Just another library filled with generations of stories, a sanctuary for silence. This one sits on the outskirts of Philadelphia, in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. This building is a critical lifeline for some.
How are you? Good, how you been? Good, haven't seen you in a while. We are everything to everybody. We are a place for the children to come in after school, so it becomes a hangout spot in our teen area. For the seniors, it's a place where somebody can help them load their phone. For the people that are unhoused, to come near to use our free Wi-Fi, our electricity, to get heat, air conditioning. Of course, we have books, you know. Have you tried breaking bread at 107 Long Lane?
But there is more here than just chapters on pages. It tells the story of refuge for those with nowhere to go.
You can only go there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
On the front lines are people like Donna Fontaine.
It's first come, first served, so you need to be over there. You're welcome. It happens so often that I forget it happens. Like, I'm just so used to dealing with it.
Donna is the branch manager here in Upper Darby. She has become a familiar face to the dozens of people that walk through the doors of the municipal branch library each day, many of them turning to her in their most desperate times.
Do you feel like you are on the front lines of the homelessness crisis in America?
Yes. We're close to Philadelphia, and we're also close to 2 shelters in our area. So we see a lot of them come in. Some we see for years and years, some we'll see periodically.
The public library has become one of the last free resources left in the United States. The access to internet, technologies, books, even electricity that libraries provide are essential for all patrons, but are particularly life-changing for those experiencing extreme poverty and homelessness.
When you got into this industry, did you ever expect this?
No, but it's one of the reasons I stayed. I did not expect it. I didn't realize the ramifications of so many people being unhoused, that they would need resources like this. We see an influx of people all the time, and they may be unhoused for 3-6 months, and they'll move on to something else. But we gave them sometimes the tools and the resources and the opportunity to apply for the housing, to apply for the jobs, to be able to move on to the next step.
We might slide our belongings back here so we're not bringing all that baggage with us and having to look. I mean, we've shaved back here before, we got ourselves together.
Sean Wood lives this reality every day, using the tight quarters behind the building.
Here's my stuff right here.
He stashes the few belongings he has to his name.
We slept back here, we ate back here, we've prayed back here. Times where things was just too rough for us, or one of us has an overwhelming situation, we've came back here and prayed for each other back here.
The library is at times his only home.
There is a few tables that are normally out here, one, and then there'd be one over here. So this is where I've actually stayed.
Sean has been unhoused since 2017, and this library has become his safe haven. Not only an escape from the harsh weather, but providing him important resources like free Wi-Fi to apply for housing and jobs.
What you been up to?
And introducing him to people who would become instrumental lifelines. He remembers the moment he met Miss Donna.
Would you say she changed your life?
Definitely. I'm so thankful for meeting her, and I'm just so grateful for the way that she embraced me and the things that she's showed. Thanks to her, I used one of those places to get washed and dressed today. They gave me these sneakers. I didn't even have any nice sneakers to wear. They gave me these sneakers today.
Libraries are this safe, stigma-free place where people can go with no resources at all.
Dr. Beth Waller is director of the School of Social Work at the University of North Carolina and studies the importance of libraries in communities.
We see consistently that the top areas of patron need that they're experiencing are homelessness and housing instability, mental health problems, and substance use.
In her research, she noticed an alarming trend during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. It left some of the country's most vulnerable population with nowhere to go.
We saw even more people coming to their library who really were falling through the cracks in other places and needed help and needed resources.
And library staff facing the brunt of growing psychosocial needs.
Libraries are on the front line of homelessness across our country right now. They see the gaps that exist in every community because those are the populations that are coming in their doors.
Thank you so much for coming here for our training day.
Enter Ryan Dowd. He hopes to provide solutions to these challenges.
So I spent most of my career running a large homeless shelter outside of Chicago.
His company focuses on de-escalation training for library staff who interact with individuals experiencing homelessness.
What are some of the key things that you try to teach them when you do these trainings?
A lot of it comes back to empathy. And so a lot of it's helping someone from the middle class to understand someone who's experiencing very, very deep poverty. And then you combine that with, here's the skills to work with someone who might have experienced profound trauma or traumatic brain injury or suffering from schizophrenia. And so it's that combination of empathy combined with skills that's really the game changer. You're wondering.
After working in homeless shelters at the beginning of his career, Dowd discovered the incredible need for training on how to interact with those dealing with hardships.
They don't fit any of our stereotypes of homelessness.
Here in Upper Darby, library staff are learning the proper ways to de-escalate potential situations. Dowd's trainings are used by over 2,000 organizations in 8 different countries.
Do you think that's all in the approach?
When you know how to work with someone, how to de-escalate conflict, how to help somebody through some sort of trauma or whatnot in a way that leaves them some dignity, everybody wins. Humor. No humor during conflict. Doesn't work. Houston Public Library, so a very large library in a very urban core. I think it was 550 of their staff take the training, and they came back later and they said, our problematic behavior dropped by 80%. Yeah, that's phenomenal.
To meet the needs of the public, the president of the American Library Association says libraries need their own needs met. That comes in the form of funding and resources.
On the local level, we've been seeing a lot of budget cuts to libraries. Communities suffer because the library is not open as many hours. There are not as many books and movies and resources available to our communities, and there aren't enough library workers to provide the services that our communities need.
At its core, libraries are about connections, connecting with information, with stories, both new and old. And for Donna and those who frequent the municipal branch, it's about connecting with each other.
I've always volunteered in some capacity, and I've realized that working with the unhoused, that they're some of the smartest, kindest people, and to recognize that this may be your next millionaire, your doctor, just giving them the access to what they need makes a difference.
Our thanks to the people like Donna, and our thanks to Jacqueline for bringing us that. Still much more to get to. Coming up, chilling images show the moment 3 masked and armed teens jump onto a bus trying to get to a 14-year-old passenger. Plus, he's collaborated with everyone from BTS to the Backstreet Boys, but it's his passion for music that keeps him going. We're on the stage with Steve Aoki.
When I first found it, like 14.
14?
Yeah.
That's when you first discovered music?
When I first discovered
or where you belong?
Community.
Music community.
Like, of course, I was like, you know, I loved music throughout, like, you know, before then.
Right.
But I didn't know a community of where, like, this is everything that I'm going to become. Every decision I make, right?
But next, May the 4th be with you. This Star Wars Day, we're taking a look at the global box office sensation that's lasted for generations. By the numbers.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital. Destructive Cat 4 storm.
We're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye. Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
Brooke Shields, the most photographed woman in the world.
A sexualized child model.
Exploitation.
What happened to her isn't really about her, it's just about women.
I let myself be vulnerable, and this is the first time I've ever spoken about what happened. I thought my one no should have been enough, you know.
When someone like Brooke Shields talks about it, it makes a difference.
I'm amazed that I survived any of it.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now. But a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead. An alert this morning for dog owners and the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different. Early mornings on ABC News Live.
You never know what you're going to get on this show. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yes, Whoopi!
This mic on? Can you hear me out there?
Behind the scenes is always a better show.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what people don't see during the commercial break.
Right, they don't.
What happened?
I had no idea really what I was getting myself into.
That day that we walked out, I treasure that day.
I couldn't sit there.
You're doing good, Joy. You're doing good.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It was crazy.
Behind the Table. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it. Had to hit spin class, I had to earn this food.
To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad.
Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the, nah, girl, you're good.
Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu. This is where the newsmakers come first in the morning to be heard. America's #1 morning show.
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000. Yeah. Are you worried about going to jail?
You write that you had low-grade depression. How'd you get out of that?
Wherever the story, ABC's Good Morning America is right there.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. Actress Carrie Fisher was posthumously awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame today with her daughter, as well as Star Wars co-stars Mark Hamill, R2-D2, and C-3PO, all there. Fisher had a diverse career as a TV actress and author, but she'll always be best known for her portrayal of Princess Leia Organa in the Star Wars movies. And today, May 4th, is also unofficially known as Star Wars Day, thanks to the pun, May the 4th be with you. We here at Prime are marking the occasion with a look at the Star Wars franchise by the numbers. When A New Hope debuted 46 years ago, it brought in $775 million at the global box office and launched one of the most successful movie franchises of all time. It's also one of the most profitable. The Star Wars universe now spans 12 movies, including one of the highest grossing movies of all time, The Rise of Skywalker, which took in more than $2 billion in box office revenue worldwide. That's more than 8 times what it cost to make. For those who like calculations as much as C-3PO, it's estimated 813,920,179 tickets were sold to see Star Wars original releases between 1977 and 2019. That's 2.4 times the total current U.S. population. More movies are on the way, and the franchise continues to expand. It now includes 8 animated Star Wars series and 4 live-action series. 4 more shows have already been announced. Altogether, the Star Wars Empire is the third highest grossing film franchise ever, valued at an estimated $51.8 billion. That trails only Pokemon and Mickey Mouse and Friends, who rake in more in merchandise sales. Star Wars, we should note, is owned by Disney, the parent company of ABC News. And of course, May the 4th be with you. And we still have much more ahead on Prime tonight. Bowing out, why actress Drew Barrymore will no longer be hosting MTV's Movie and TV Awards. And an update from actor Jamie Foxx weeks after his family revealed he experienced a medical complication.
It takes asking the straightforward, tough questions.
Do you believe that Donald Trump should ever be president again?
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
Are you worried about going to jail?
You write that you had low-grade depression. How'd you get out of that?
The news-making interviews.
You said that there were 6 friends. One of them was sick.
Yeah.
Do you have future political aspirations?
Going to the front line.
The search for survivors. How does this war end?
And getting to the heart of the story.
Thank you for being here. We'll be here for the long run.
ABC News, #1 in the morning, the #1 newscast, #1 in daytime talk, Friday nights, Sunday mornings versus the competition, and the #1 streaming news. Thank you for making ABC News America's trusted, straightforward first choice.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now. Been a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead. An alert this morning for dog owners and the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different. Early mornings on ABC News Live. This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
We're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it. Had to hit spin class, I had to earn this food.
To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad.
Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the nah girl, you're good.
Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
13 women opened their doors to the man who would end their lives.
Truth and Lies, The Boston Strangler, the new true crime podcast series. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts. And watch Boston Strangler, starring Keira Knightley, streaming on Hulu.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
The terrifying moments a stroller rolls toward oncoming traffic. The allegations that led to the firing of a college baseball coach and a car maker issues a do not drive warning for thousands of its cars. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
Dramatic video shows the heroic actions of a Good Samaritan preventing a baby.
We're having some technical difficulties there. Actor Jamie Foxx makes his first online post since being hospitalized 3 weeks ago for an undisclosed medical emergency. ABC's DeMarco Morgan has the details on this glimmer of hope for his recovery.
A new message from actor Jamie Foxx after nearly 3 weeks in an Atlanta hospital for a medical complication. A post on the 55-year-old's Instagram saying, "Appreciate all the love, feeling blessed."
She knows how to shake that thing, mess around. I declare she can mess around.
The update comes amid mystery and concern for the Oscar-winning actor's health after his daughter, Corinne, posted on her social media shortly after he was hospitalized, writing, "Due to quick action and great care, he is already on his way to recovery." Still, questions mounting about what exactly is happening with the actor's health.
Unfortunately, we really still don't know much about what is going on with Jamie Foxx. His daughter first released a statement about his medical scare 3 weeks ago, and here we are nearly a month later, and we still have no official statement or details about how he is doing.
Do you want to walk out of here with that $41,000, or do you want to try and beat Shazam?
And now we have new details about Fox's hit musical game show Beat Shazam. Executives announcing actor and comedian Nick Cannon will fill in as host. Fox has served as host since 2017, a role he has shared with his daughter, the show's resident DJ.
Yo, this is my magic piano right here. Everybody know about this magic piano. When I play this piano, you never know who's gonna stop by.
A post on Fox's Instagram story thanked Cannon, saying, "Appreciate you, my boy. See you all soon."
Clearly, Jamie isn't ready to give up his hosting duties on this show. This is simply another friend stepping in to take the plate while he undergoes recovery.
Fox was most recently seen filming in Atlanta with co-star Cameron Diaz on the set of Netflix's upcoming film Back in Action. The action comedy is said to be released in 2024. The movie resumed filming without Fox, using a stunt double scene in these photos from DailyMail.com.
Our thanks to DeMarco for that, and best wishes for a speedy recovery. Pulsating beats, shows like a spectacle, a legendary lineup of songs and remixes. For decades, Steve Aoki has been the quintessential DJ. His sets provide a one-of-a-kind experience for fans. The famed artist's love for music came from his childhood, and his passion for impressing the people who listen has never slowed down. Our Phil Lipoff sat down with a music icon for tonight's Prime Playlist, a playlist that has a sweet ending.
Inside Terminal 5 in New York City. You can feel the bass beating in your chest.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
The fans packed in, shoulder to shoulder, eyes focused on
1, 2, 3, let's go!
Steve Aoki, center stage, working the crowd.
Back to the right, right!
Moving at a fever pitch, his energy non-stop and infectious. We joined Steve backstage for a few quiet moments before his set.
I prefer having low heart rate and as zen as possible before I hit the stage.
A Steve Aoki show is more like an experience. It's an exciting mix of electronic dance music, stunning visual effects, explosive smoke machines, flying confetti, champagne popping, and of course, those infamous cakes.
Raise your hands if you're ready for some cake!
And this is just one night. Aoki relentlessly tours, some years hundreds of shows. In 2014, he set a Guinness World Record for most traveled musician, 161 shows in 41 countries.
I hate the complacent life. I don't want that. I want to always be disciplined and find that edge to do more.
Steve pumping out so many mega hits like Mic Drop, Wasted on Me, and Pursuit of Happiness. Streamed more than 500 million times. He's been doing this for almost 3 decades. 7 studio albums, 2 Grammy nominations, and collaborations with everyone from K-pop sensation BTS, Linkin Park and the Backstreet Boys, to Lil Uzi Vert and Kid Cudi.
Put your hands up, 1, 2, 3, let's go!
The 45-year-old is now considered a legend in the world of EDM. Still, when he was a teen, the son of Japanese immigrants, he didn't feel like he belonged and struggled to make friends in high school, eventually finding rhythm through music.
How old were you at this time?
When I first found it, like 14.
14?
Yeah.
That's when you first discovered music?
When I first discovered
or where you belong? Music community.
Like, of course, I was like, you know, I loved music throughout, like, you know, before then.
Right.
But I didn't know a community of where, like, this is everything that I'm going to become. Every decision I make, right?
And there was no looking back, even when he went to college. The hardcore punk scene was in full swing when Steve got to the University of California, Santa Barbara, his apartment known as the Pickle Patch, bands playing live in his living room. From the music to the clothes, punk was popular. Steve heavy into a subset of the genre called straight edge hardcore.
Some of the ideologies of hardcore is, one, PMA, positive mental attitude. It's just really, it's a really good thing for a kid to like really align themselves with.
Absolutely.
So,
at 19, he formed a band with 3 of his college buddies he met in ceramics class, forming his record label Dimmock before moving back to Los Angeles, all while trying to live up to his famous father's larger-than-life legacy.
Your place or mine, it's up to you.
Rocky Aoki, founder of the popular Japanese restaurant chain Benihana. Rocky, known for his obsession with work, his love of speed on the water and in the air. In 1981, he crewed the first balloon to successfully cross the Pacific Ocean.
my father's, like, you know, looming presence and what he's done with culture has definitely shaped me.
Proving to his dad that he could make it in music became a driving force. So he bought some equipment, and the rest is music history. Quickly gaining a reputation for his high-intensity performances and connection with the crowd. Major festivals. A residency in Ibiza, the EDM capital of the world. Adding crowd surfing, a throwback from his hardcore days. And of course his trademark move, caking. So popular now, fans come to shows hoping to be caked, wearing shirts and holding signs. He brings at least a dozen to every show. And he is impressively accurate, throwing from about 30 feet out. The cake's base is styrofoam, and it's mostly made of very sticky, soft icing because the goal is not to hurt, it's to have fun.
What does it feel like when it hits? Right, like when it's a direct hit?
Amazing. It's like, I mean, the best way to explain it is like if you're Tom Brady and you score that Hail Mary, you throw that touchdown goal to the receiver and like the whole crowd goes crazy.
The GOAT of cake throwing has taken criticism over the years from some in the EDM world, calling out his onstage antics.
They said, we're not going to book you. We don't like the cakes. We think it's cheesy. I think I stopped for like a year, and you know what happened? After I stopped?
Fans got upset?
They didn't book me.
So that would be the last time he would bend the knee to anyone, doing what he does best, DJing, the art of mixing music live in front of amped up fans.
This is why I don't drink before I DJ. Because you need to have clarity of thought and be able to think like a chess player.
A laser focus, strong-willed, hard-hitting, and fast-paced, bringing something new to his profession, a lot like his father before him.
Me being directly and indirectly around him has shaped me for sure, no doubt about it, because this is a very traditional Japanese way of thinking, to put work first.
A work ethic he inherited, a legacy he is building on.
1, 2, 3, let's go!
I don't even feel like I'm 45 right now, because like when you're learning something new, and your eyes are wide open, and you get the chills, and you still feel something, it's like you're back when you're a teenager again.
And since that boundless youthful energy is contagious,
We live, baby. We live.
how could I not?
I didn't think he was going to be running.
You're gonna hurt.
No.
I told you.
No.
You gotta trust me.
You're like a master.
I know.
Oh,
I gotta wash
up my
up.
nose. Steve, thank you.
You got it.
Have a good night.
Yeah,
Great
awesome.
show. Oh my God, did you just really do that? Did you see what he did? I ate it off my face.
Oh, I love that, Phil. What a sport, getting caked. Our thanks to Phil Lipoff for that. The terrifying moments, a stroller rolls toward oncoming traffic. The allegations that led to the firing of a college baseball coach, and a car maker issues a do not drive warning for thousands of its cars. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
Dramatic video shows the heroic actions of a Good Samaritan preventing a baby stroller from rolling into traffic in California. The stroller is seen rolling away from the vehicle with an adult nearby attempting to grab it but falling before they could. Just before the stroller entered a busy roadway, a nearby man rushed over to stop the stroller, pushing it back where it came from.
A wild scene at a Hawaiian harbor that witnesses say may have been a case of GPS gone wrong. A woman and her passenger driving right down a boat ramp straight into the water, even smiling in confusion as their van sinks lower, still rolling forward. The passenger quickly making it out of the window, but the driver still inside. Other witnesses, including a trained rescue diver, jumping into action after carefully helping them out of the vehicle and walking them back up the boat ramp, the van going under.
Officials in Maryland are searching for 3 suspects in connection with an attack on a school bus. Police say the bus had stopped to drop off students when the masked suspects, believed to be juveniles, boarded the bus and began to attack one of the passengers. One of the suspects tried shooting the victim multiple times, but officials believe the weapon malfunctioned. The victim suffered minor injuries. The motive is under investigation. The University of Alabama fired its head baseball coach amid an investigation into suspicious bets placed against the team in a game against LSU. The school said in a statement that Brad Bohannon was being let go for, among other things, violating the standards, duties, and responsibilities expected of university employees. ESPN reports that the Ohio Casino Control Commission is investigating 2 bets placed on LSU to win this past Friday from the same unidentified customer in Cincinnati. Drew Barrymore will no longer host the MTV Movie and TV Awards. Barrymore says she pulled out of the May 7th ceremony in solidarity with the WGA strike, which is in its 3rd day. In a statement, Barrymore said she had listened to the writers and made the decision to step down in order to fully respect them. She added that she would return to host the ceremony next year. Variety reports that the show will now go on without a host and that the red carpet has also been canceled.
If you own a 3 Series, 5 Series, or X5 made between 2000 and 2006, BMW says stop driving it immediately and go get the airbag replaced. That's because they have an extremely high probability of failure during a crash. This stems from a defect in the Takata-made airbag. Drivers who have an open recall notice can get replacement parts for free through their dealer, as well as free towing or mobile repair. 90,000 vehicles are covered in this recall. Takata first came under scrutiny for defective airbags 10 years ago.
And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, the leader of the extremist group, the Proud Boys, is charged with seditious conspiracy. What a jury decided on charges for other members of the group. A major investigation into the NFL by attorneys general from 2 states. The bombshell allegations being examined.
This is ABC News Live Prime.
Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Live reporting, breaking news, exclusives, award-winning, powerful, eye-opening. ABC News Live Prime with Lindsay Davis. Streaming weeknights. right now in America, with so much at stake. Thank you for making ABC's This Week America's #1 news and politics show on Sunday mornings. This is where the newsmakers come first in the morning to be heard. America's #1 morning show.
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000. Yeah. Are you worried about going to jail?
You write that you had low-grade depression. How'd you get out of that?
Wherever the story, ABC's Good Morning America is right there.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital, destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
You never know what you're going to get on this show. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yes, Whoopi!
Is this mic on? Can you hear me out there?
Behind the scenes is always a better show.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what people don't see during the commercial break.
Right, they don't.
What happened?
I had no idea really what I was getting myself into.
That day that we walked out, I treasure that day.
I couldn't sit there.
You're doing good, Joy. You're doing good.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It was crazy.
Behind the Table. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Hug you.
Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it. I had to hit spin class, I had to earn this food.
To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad. Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the "nah, girl, you're good."
Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Hi there, I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're monitoring several developments here at ABC News at this hour. Pop superstar Ed Sheeran emerged victorious today from a Manhattan court after a federal jury found him not guilty of copying the Marvin Gaye classic Let's Get It On and his hit song Thinking Out Loud. Sheeran, who even played guitar on the witness stand, argued his tune contains the same musical building blocks that songwriters use every day. A 21-year-old who was a student at the University of California, Davis until just last week has been arrested for 3 separate stabbings that left 2 people dead and put the college community on edge. Police identified the suspect as Carlos Dominguez. He's accused of killing a homeless man in one attack and a UC Davis senior in another. A third victim was badly injured but survived. The attorneys general from New York and California have launched a joint investigation examining the workplace culture of the National Football League. They've subpoenaed the NFL for information about allegations of gender disparities in compensation, harassment, and retaliation, also gender and race discrimination. The NFL says they will cooperate, but added they do not tolerate discrimination in any form. Next to the verdict in the trial of 5 members of the far-right group, the Proud Boys. It's the most consequential case stemming from the January 6th siege of the Capitol. The group's former leader, Enrique Tarrio, and 3 of his lieutenants were all convicted of seditious conspiracy for plotting to attack the Capitol to keep Donald Trump in power after he lost the 2020 election. Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas reports.
Tonight, a jury convicting the head of the Proud Boys and 3 of its members of the rare charge of seditious conspiracy, and a plot to use force to keep Donald Trump in power.
The evidence presented at trial detailed the extent of the violence at the Capitol on January 6th and the central role these defendants played in setting into motion the unlawful events of that day.
Prosecutors laying out a mountain of evidence, including thousands of texts and videos like these showing that Proud Boys were among the first to break through those metal barriers protecting the Capitol. The government proved Ethan Nordine, Joseph Biggs, Zachary Real, and the group's chief, Enrique Tarrio, saw themselves as Donald Trump's army, thirsting for violence and organizing for action. Enrique Tarrio had been barred from the nation's capital that day, but on the eve of the insurrection, Tarrio was seen meeting with the leaders of the Oath Keepers in an underground parking garage in Washington.
Stuart, pleasure. Pleasure's all mine.
Prosecutors say the next day he orchestrated the attack from afar, texting his fellow Proud Boys at the height of the violence, telling them, "Don't expletive leave." The jury today also convicting a key foot soldier, Proud Boy Dominic Pizzola, who was seen in that infamous video using a stolen police shield to smash through a window. Pizzola found guilty of a number of felonies, including obstructing a congressional proceeding and assaulting officers, but acquitted on seditious conspiracy. The Proud Boys were tied to Donald Trump long before January 6, and their ranks only surged after Trump called them out by name at a debate.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
At trial, the group portrayed themselves as simply hard drinkers with no master plan who got swept up in the moment. Attorneys for the defendants instead blamed Trump, pointing to his own words that day.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Words some have come to regret. Our thanks for that story. The suspect accused of opening fire inside an Atlanta doctor's office, triggering a desperate 8-hour manhunt, has been charged. The shooting left 4 victims wounded and 1 person dead. And tonight we've learned the victim who did not survive was a CDC employee. Here's ABC's Steve Aoki.
She's the mother who did not make it home from the doctor's office in Atlanta, who had 2 young children who friends are remembering tonight. 39-year-old Amy St. Pierre worked at the CDC. Her family tells us that Amy was selfless always. She wanted more for others, but never for herself. A friend told us that she was funny and very serious about her work, and that her family came first. In Washington today, her boss said that she would be missed.
Amy was a valued member of our team at the Division of Reproductive Health, where she worked every day to save lives of mothers and infants.
24-year-old Dion Patterson is charged with murder and 4 counts of aggravated assault. The 4 women at the doctor's office who he's accused of seriously wounding have a long road to recovery. 1 was shot in the face. 3 are still in intensive care tonight.
As of right now, everybody is as stable as they can be given the nature of their injuries.
Police say he fired a handgun inside the doctor's office waiting room and reception desk. His mother, who says she was with him, says he was trying to get a prescription for an anti-anxiety medication when he started shooting. And WSB-TV in Atlanta got a hold of this surveillance video showing him running away. It was a street-side license plate reader that spotted the truck he's accused of stealing north of the city, where he was arrested and where people who saw him were calling 911.
Where is he right now? He was walking in front of our building on our street.
Patterson is a former member of the Coast Guard who, according to his mother, was having mental health issues and had been trying to get help from the Veterans Hospital.
Our thanks to Steve for that. Overseas now, Russia is blaming the U.S. for an alleged drone attack over the Kremlin, an attempt, they say, to kill Vladimir Putin. Tonight, the White House is responding to the accusation as we learn new details about just what happened. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Ukraine.
Russia tonight blaming the U.S. for the alleged drone attack on the Kremlin, claiming without any evidence it was an attempt to kill Vladimir Putin. Moscow saying without question that such an attack would be, quote, dictated to Kyiv from Washington. The White House today blasting that accusation, calling it, quote, a blatant, bold lie.
One thing I can tell you for certain is that the United States was not involved in this incident in any way.
And saying there's no conclusive evidence as to who is behind Wednesday's alleged attack. And tonight, we're learning more about the sequence of events. The first object seen in video posted by state media slamming into the Kremlin dome around 2:27 in the morning. 16 minutes later, apparent CCTV video catching the second explosion near the Russian flag. It was more than 12 hours before the Kremlin released an official statement, and state media posted video of both blasts. In one of the videos, you can see 2 people climbing the Senate dome just moments before the second explosion. Experts say the types of apparent drones seen in those videos could not have reached Moscow from Ukraine.
Somebody had to have gotten within a couple of miles of these targets, a couple of miles of the Senate palace.
President Zelensky has adamantly denied Ukraine was involved.
Our thanks to Marcus. Next tonight, to the strong reactions after the death of a black man on a New York City subway was ruled a homicide. Witnesses say the man was shouting at passengers when other passengers tackled him. A white Marine veteran on the subway car put him in a chokehold for several minutes. He did not survive. The Marine has not been charged. Stephanie Ramos reports in a warning. Some may find the video you're about to see disturbing.
Tonight, authorities in New York City poring over this video showing a former Marine restraining an allegedly erratic man in a deadly chokehold on a subway. Police say 30-year-old Jordan Neely, who was homeless, was on the train in Lower Manhattan Monday afternoon when he began threatening passengers.
He interrupted in the train and then started to yelling violence language. I don't care if I die. I don't care if I'm going to jail.
That's when police say the 24-year-old former Marine put Neely in that chokehold. Neely struggling as another passenger holds his arms. Police say the Marine did ask others to call 911. After several minutes, Neely losing consciousness and later pronounced dead at a hospital. The medical examiner ruling his death a homicide by compression of the neck. Neely, once known for his Michael Jackson impersonation. Police sources say he had a documented mental health history and more than 40 arrests, including for assault and disorderly conduct. Overnight, protesters gathering at the train station to demand justice for Neely. New York Governor Kathy Hochul calling the chokehold an extreme response.
Just looking at that video, you know it's wrong. No one has the right to take the life of another person.
But tonight, Mayor Eric Adams urging patience.
The district attorney, the police department, they're doing their investigations, and I'm going to respect that. There are many layers to this.
Our thanks to Stephanie. Now to new reporting on Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. After ProPublica unveiled Thomas accepted at least $150,000 in private school tuition for his grandnephew, who he was raising as a son. This is from the same GOP megadonor who gifted him vacations and who bought Thomas's mother's house. None of those gifts were disclosed, and it's leading ethics watchdogs to cry foul. Here's ABC's chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
New revelations today that billionaire Republican megadonor Harlan Crow paid for the private school tuition of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas's grandnephew, who the justice raised as a son. No comment today from Justice Thomas, who has called Crow a dear friend. But the billionaire did acknowledge paying the tuition, saying he has, quote, been passionate about the importance of quality education and giving back to those less fortunate, especially at-risk youth. ProPublica says they've uncovered evidence Crow paid for tuition at 2 different private schools. And while the exact amount is unknown, the cost of one of the schools was $6,000 a month. Thomas did not reveal any of this in his financial disclosure reports. This comes after ProPublica reported that the same billionaire donor took Thomas and his wife on lavish vacations, including travel on a private jet and a superyacht. Thomas didn't disclose those either, or the fact that Mr. Crow also bought Thomas's mother's house. The reports have prompted Democrats to call for new Supreme Court ethics rules.
The reputation of the Supreme Court is at stake here.
Other justices have faced ethics questions. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, for example, was criticized for not recusing herself from a case involving a publisher that paid her over $3 million to write her books. Unlike Thomas, however, Sotomayor disclosed that income. And even though some Republicans say Thomas is being unfairly singled out, there is rare bipartisan agreement on one thing.
Those fact patterns should be something that the Supreme Court should look at and figure out what they should do to update their ethics.
Our thanks to Jonathan Karl. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, exploring the experiences of multiracial children and families. Emmy-winning producer, director, host, and comedian Kamau Bell tells us how he's using humor to explore the complexities in his new documentary. But next, an investigation into the first ever school shooting in Serbia. The moves being made to stop this from ever happening again.
Whenever news breaks,
the crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Patton
Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Bring them on.
If only there was a place in the morning to start my day. With a smile, somewhere to help me get in the know. A place as spectacular as, well, me.
I think we might know a place, right, guys?
Bring your friends.
Oh, wait, there is.
Good morning, America.
GMA, 7A, every day. Boom, boom, boom.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Robin. Good morning, America. How are you?
Boom. Now that's how you start your day, people.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
And Macedo, wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Officials in Serbia are already making moves to tighten gun restrictions just one day after the country's first ever school shooting. The victims were honored today with a memorial at the entrance of the Belgrade school where 8 students and a security guard were killed. 7 others were wounded. The 13-year-old suspect allegedly used 2 pistols that belonged to his father. Hundreds of residents in Guatemala have been evacuated as a nearby volcano spews red-hot rock and ash. The volcano of fire, or Fuego as it's known, is one of the most active volcanoes in Central America. Authorities say more residents could be cleared from the area. An eruption in 2018 killed nearly 200 people. And the countdown is on to the coronation. The flowers that will adorn Westminster Abbey when King Charles is crowned Saturday have arrived, and they include branches planted by his parents, the late Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. And if you doubt the excitement, a pair of British zoos were decked out today with bunting to mark the occasion. Both zoos are part of a conservation charity that the royal family has supported for almost 2 centuries. Our next guest is exploring the experiences of mixed-race children and families in his new HBO Max documentary, 1000% Me, Growing Up Mixed. Emmy Award-winning producer, director, host, and comedian W. Kamau Bell uses humor and heart to examine the complexities of growing up biracial in America today. Let's take a look.
When you look in the mirror, what do you see?
I like to think that mirrors don't show everything. Like, mirrors show the outside of you, but they can't tell, like, the inside of you or how you identify, like, just by the look of you.
Mirrors don't show everything. Kamau, we thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I don't know. That's my daughter, so somebody's chopping onions in here, I think. Something's happening.
You got a gnat in your eye. I know. I've had that a time or two. Now, this will be your 3rd documentary, and like your previous works, you don't shy away from exploring tough topics. Yeah, this one seems even more personal as you interview your own children. Tell us about how this came about.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is by far the most personal thing I've released in any project because it features me and my wife's kids. Me and my wife, Melissa, had to talk about, like, do we want to put our kids out there? We've worked hard to keep them off of social media and out of the bright spotlight of my career. But, you know, we were very proactive, even before we had our oldest daughter, Sammy, who was right there, to talk about what is her life going to be like as a mixed person. That's an identity we don't have. And so we spent a lot of time preparing for her and talking to her about it, and then her sisters, Asha and Juno. And so this film has been like something that we've been talking about for years, even knowing we weren't talking about a film. And then when I saw Sammy's friends when she got to kindergarten, and I saw all these other mixed race kids who were mixed in ways that she wasn't mixed, and I talked to their parents and knew they were having similar conversations. So it just, I think out of there it grew.
And why do you think that children can be such beacons of truth for these types of conversations in ways that adults often struggle?
You know, kids aren't there's something about the innocence of childhood, but also about the fact that they feel a lot more sure of themselves, especially if they're raised in a supportive environment. They're not afraid of the kind of judgment that I think as adults you start to get afraid of, like, you know, what if I get canceled? Kids aren't afraid of getting canceled. They just want to say what's on their minds.
And you allude to it in the title, but one of the misconceptions about being multiracial that you focus on is the idea that someone is 50% this and 50% that instead of being 100% both. Why is that concept so important to drive home?
Because the kids drove it home for me as we were making the film. When I was interviewing them, that's where that came from. Miles, who's a little boy who's in the films, early on I asked him to identify how he identified. He said, I'm 100% Filipino, I'm 100% African-American, and 1,000% a person. And I didn't know at the time, but he gave us the title for the film. And every kid we talked to was very clear that it's like, it's not a fraction of this and a fraction of that. It's 100% this, it's 100% that. It's more and more. It's an opportunity to connect with more cultures and more races.
And why do you think it is that, you know, I'm going to throw out like Barack Obama, for example. People often will say, you know, first black president, yet he had a white mother, was raised predominantly by his mother and white grandparents. Why do you feel in society today we still, even though someone is biracial, we assign one race to them predominantly in the case of being black and white, you're black?
Well, this is an easy issue because it goes back to the days of enslavement and the one-drop rule. And the idea that you're like, that if you have one drop of black blood, then you're black. So there's lots of people in the South in the history of this country that we would now describe as mixed who weren't described as mixed. There were other terms like mulatto and octoroon and quadroon, but they weren't described, it was versions of being black. It was not described as mixed. And I think, you know, race is a social construct. So it's about, like, what are you trying to say about yourself and what are you trying to align with? And I think Barack Obama, even by checking black on the census, was saying, I understand that this is the place I reside in this country and this is what I claim. And I don't ever get the impression that Barack Obama was rejecting his mom or his upbringing.
Sure. And the film still maintains a positive outlook, with many of the older children you feature pointing to the younger generation having it better than they did. Where do you think that optimism comes from?
I mean, I think it comes from the same thing I would say about for the black social justice movements we've had in this country. The younger generation always benefits from the older generation working hard, but then the younger generation has to work hard for the generation behind them. So I think that's where the optimism comes from. I've heard from a lot of mixed race folks who say, I wish I'd had this when I was a kid. It would have helped so much, but I'm grateful that I have it now.
What do you hope that viewers take away from this?
I think it's really important. A lot of times mixed folks, when they're on social media or even in media of any kind, when they start to talk about their mixed heritage, they get shouted down by people saying either pick a side, or if you're part white, why are you trying to be white? Why you don't have it as hard as people who are one race. And so we need to allow mixed folks to be able to talk about their identity and take up that space without feeling like it is threatening our identities, who are those of us who aren't mixed race.
Kamau Bell, thank you so much for joining us, and want our viewers to know you can watch 1000% Me Growing Up Mixed on HBO and HBO Max. And still to come, an impromptu jam session turns into a viral hit. The performers whose lighthearted song is inspiring people on the internet to be kind in this week's TikTok.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it.
Had to hit spin class, you know, I had to earn this food. To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad.
Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the, nah, girl, you're good.
Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television. Right now in America, with so much at stake, thank you for making ABC's This Week America's #1 news and politics show on Sunday mornings.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Sometimes the only thing to cure a bad day is a good song. And that mindset is what sparked a shot to fame for a pair of singers on TikTok. On a particularly down day, two musicians penned "If I Were a Fish." They posted the sing-along on TikTok, and it's garnered 16 million views and counting. In tonight's TikToker, Will Gann sat down with the pair to talk about spreading self-love and acceptance with a simple melody.
If I were a fish and you caught me, you'd say, look at that fish, shimmering in the sun.
It's the song the internet has fallen in love with. Hook, line, and sinker.
You'd win first prize if you caught me.
The fishy feel-good anthem written by Corinne Savage after their page was flooded with negative comments.
Why is everybody on the internet so mean?
What it really was doing is shining a light on something I'm really insecure about, which is feeling like I don't fit in, feeling like I don't have a place. Whether it be like genre of music or like gender identity or the colorful clothes that I wear whenever I walk into a room, you know, I just feel a little bit out of place.
Corinne's partner, Olivia Barton, coming over to lift their spirits.
Corinne's taught me how to like move through something really hard and into joy. And I actually feel like that day I got to like do that for you.
I remember her saying like, okay, let's be really weird. Like, what's the weirdest thing you can think of? And I was like, well, if I were a fish, I feel like people would like all the things that I am way more. And she was like, well, that's weird. Let's do it.
Flopping around and singing my song. I say, damn, they're cute and sing along.
The song racking up more than 16 million views on social media and taking off IRL too.
Shimmering in the sun, such a rare one. Can't believe that you got one.
There are elementary school choirs that are singing the song.
I'm literally tearing up.
I know.
I don't know why.
Why does that make you emotional?
I really could have used this song as a kid, and I think we all could have, you know, and I'm lucky that as an adult I have it now, you know, and I think that that's how we all feel. We're kind of all healing our inner children with this sweet self-acceptance song.
Corinne, known professionally as Karuk, hosting a sing-along in Washington Square Park.
If I were a fish and you caught me.
And Olivia performing the song on stage at a recent show here in New York City.
What has surprised you the most, Olivia, since this thing became a thing? What part of this process is the most surprising to you?
This currently right now.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like a way to make myself feel better, and because other people were feeling better because of it, we wanted to continue it.
And we're both just looking at each other every day like, what?
The fish song?
Yeah.
Yes.
This self-acceptance anthem making waves in a community not necessarily known for its kindness.
You ask it in the song, but I'm gonna ask you in real life, why is everyone on the internet so mean?
Oh, I think they're sad.
I think there's just a lot of comparison. And so I think that people are just maybe not so happy with themselves all the time. And some are louder than others, you know? But I think that this has also taught me that there's like way more nice people on the internet than mean people. And I really needed that. I really needed to find that community of people that feel like outsiders and are like finally accepting themselves and each other.
What began as a 48-second jam sesh on TikTok is now a full-blown hit, streaming on Spotify for anyone who's ever felt like a fish out of water.
I just want people to know that I just like write about my life, and I write about my experience as a queer, non-binary, 20-something-year-old trying to stay positive in this really, really scary, difficult world.
If I were a fish and you caught me, you'd say, look at that fish, shimmering in the sun. Such a rare one, can't believe that you caught one.
All about spreading kindness. Our thanks to Will for that. And that's our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, the ABC News app, and of course on abcnews.com. Have a great night.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of family